Yes, hello dear motorcycle friends. We are from motorradtest.de and today we are testing the BMW 1300 RS for you. We did not plan this, it was spontaneous. Quite good, exactly, yes, a Sporthor. A new Sportster from BMW has only been available in this new version with the 1300 engine since this year. It hasn't been here that long. We're here again today at Batman & Sons, in Neumünster, and here it is. We got a red license plate today, but you should actually get one too. Look, Satcher is doing that on purpose, right? Exactly. So if you want to take a test drive, then you're very welcome here at Bergman & Sons in Neumünster. All the other BMW models are here too. Yes, and this bike here, the RS, costs €19,950. Euro naked, sounds like a lot, but it can do a lot. You'll see there's a lot in it. A lot in it, a lot on it. There are 4 colors. We were lucky again. Right, this is basically here. Yes, the standard color is blue. Yes, you get that for no extra charge. Then there's the triple black, the black one, which costs, I think, an extra €700, something like that. And there are 2 special models, but they also have more features. This is just one of the 2. And yes, we last tested the RS on 23. And what does BMW say about this motorcycle? The BMW R1300 rupees is a long-distance performer with an unmistakable boxer punch, ready for any sporting marathon, for adrenaline-fueled sprints in between. Yes, that sounds good, right? I'd say yes. I always think, yeah, why not? I think it's crazy what kind of slogans manufacturers come up with. Always great. Should we check now whether it's true? We hope you've provided a coffee and pastries. Have fun with this test, and already something bing bung. We're quickly getting to the dimensions of the BMW R1300 GM. Wonderful. Okay, length 2.13. Wonderful. Height 1.34, weight 245 kilogram. Permissible total weight 460, that's over 200 kilograms payload. I think that's really earthly. Seat height 79 centimeters. Wheelbase. And wheelbase, yes, done. We have a wheelbase of 1.51. And 7 millimeters, for those who want to know exactly. 1.51 meters. The tension. Yeah, zack. Yes, that's cool, right? Yes, I always find that so surprising with sports tours. Well, for me, it's always seating comfort. I always think adventure bike, right? Adventure bike, but that's not true at all. These sports tours, they generally have enough space. You just don't have that much at the front. Exactly. It's a bit slimmer, but it's still the way motorcycles used to be. The way you remember it, yes, exactly. It's a motorcycle. And you know what? The seat back is really good for me. I can also hold on to this at the back. I don't even know what it is. I can definitely, probably a handlebar. I can hold on to it and look over me and yes, I'm looking over you, so it all works brilliantly. Yes, nice. Better than expected. Very good. Yes, that brings us to the technology of the BMW R1300 rupees. Right handlebar end, everything as usual with BMW. Here the ignition, driving mode switch, kill switch, SOS e-call is included on the bike on the left. It looks basically the same as on a GS. We have the famous burger cup here, I'll explain that in a moment. Cruise control. Warm indicators. Cockpit controls, indicators, horn, turn signal, high beam. And then let's take a look at the machine and take a look at the display. That didn't work, so now yes. That's the venerable 6.5-inch TFT color display from BMW. We already know it from various other machines. In this case, it comes as standard mobile phone connectivity and file navigation. The bike also has keys wide. Then we have USB. Here it is. There is a USB port, by the way. There's supposed to be 2 USB ports here. The second one is hidden somewhere. I have no idea. Or it doesn't matter. And yes, the menu, to be honest, No. Show me the menu, please. Show me the display. We've shown it to you 80,000 times already. I'll show you again. What I always like to show is this nice sports display. You can see the lean angle here. Right? Here's the traction control and here's the braking force. It's a really cool display, I think. What else do we have? Yes, we haven't paired our phone now. So everything is grayed out here. Here you go to the settings. Well, we've shown you that 1,000 times already, I think. We can actually save ourselves a bit of trouble. Maybe another look at the riding modes. There are normally 3, Rain Road and Eco. Well, this bike is almost fully equipped now. You also have Dynamic and Dynamic Pro. I don't know why they're grayed out, but in any case, yes. I think that should be enough. I'm just wondering whether I want to show anything else in the menu. No, not really. Back to the equipment. Yes, what else is there? There's the Dynamic ESA suspension, so you can adjust the suspension electronically. This bike also has a lean angle sensor, so there's cornering ABS on board, as well as cornering traction control, engine drag control, and cruise control with braking function. That means this bike also has radar at the front and rear, which means that if you turn on the cruise control, you can set the distance to the car in front of you, and the bike will brake for you, if necessary, and so on and so forth. Well, of course, that's not all standard. What I just mentioned, I'll just suggest, because otherwise the video would be too long, please go to the BMW website. There you can see the data and equipment. If you scroll right down, BMW does it quite well, I think. Then you can see the standard equipment and the optional equipment. But I'll now say something about the individual packages that you can book. Yes, back to the equipment and the packages. There are 4 packages from BMW for the RS, and we'll start with the cheapest, the Comfort package for €590. This includes heated grips, seat heating, and tire pressure monitoring. Then there's the Touring package for €990, which includes central locking, a top case, and pannier holder, a sat-nav holder, and a center stand. Sat-nav holder is basically for the BMW navigation device. That's really just the preparation. The sat-nav itself costs another €600 or so. Then there's the Innovation package with Headlight Pro, which includes the cornering lights and the Riding Assistant. And the Riding Assistant, you have to imagine it like this. Everything that HUPS normally means in a car, like lane departure warning and so on. In this case with the RS, it's the adaptive cruise control with the radar system. It's included collision warning, actually a lane change warning too. Just like in a car, it must be visual. I don't think the handlebars start to wobble then. To be honest, I've never really noticed or felt it, but it's there. And a rear-end collision detection system. That's the things that the radar system detects. Yes, and then there's the Dynamic. The Dynamic package, which is actually a classic BMW feature. Then the Quick Shifter. The Gear Shift Assistant Pro, as BMW always calls it. Then the DSA suspension. And what else do we have? Farmudi Pro and the so-called sports brake. Optionally, there's also the ASA suspension. This electronic gear shift assistant, you can't call it automatic, yes, because it's just a gear shift that's basically automated, but it works really well with BMW. I've been able to try it out on various other machines. It costs €890. You can also buy a lithium-ion battery if you want. And the Accra, well, that's the performance. The Accra is already included as standard, but you can also, if you buy a different version, if you buy the blue one, you can also book it separately. We come to the lighting of the BMW R1300 RS. When the ignition is switched on, the daytime running lights come on. This then gradually changes into, what should I call it, a driving light, a parking light. Exactly. Then at the front, we have everything with a dual function, dual headlights. Let's start the engine. They also work as dual lamps. Very nice, exactly. And if you want, you can also purchase the cornering light as an option from BMW for 500 euros. The lighting at the rear is a very nice extra. Warm lighting system is still not standard these days, and what's also very good is that we have separated the lights at the rear. The indicators are, so to speak, separate from the taillight. Wonderful, I really like that, great. So, test drive part 1. I'm Didma, and this is the BMW R1300 rupees in this beautiful light-wide uni. Strangely enough, it's not called Sport here. I think it's performance, but as I said, it's not just the paintwork that is different here. There's also an Acra, DSA suspension, and a few special things. To be honest, today we unfortunately forgot Bergman & Sons to print out the equipment sheet for us. I think this one is pretty much fully equipped. This is this burger cup, which of course I forgot to explain to you earlier. You can put favorites on the display, for example. The traction control setting. The setting for the traction control, the dynamic setting, the damping, and so on and so forth, you can choose that. I'll just leave it all alone for now. I drive with the sport display mode. There are several displays here, and I actually think that's the coolest. Yes, and then we'll go for a ride. Lid closed, monkey dead. So I'll start with the topic, where I always have a different opinion than many other testers, namely the quick shifter. You probably can't hear it anymore, but I just think that the quick shifter on the Boxer models from BMW is okay. Although at the moment I'm a bit confused. Here, it actually works very well. Yes, it jerks a bit. Well, that's just how it is. It jerks a bit, but of course it works, as you would imagine, does what you would expect from a quick shifter. Just maybe not as smoothly as on a Bugatti or Yamaha or Triumph. So yes, here you can see the motorway. Can I already announce that Volker will be taking you out onto the motorway again later? Especially to take a closer look at the wind protection. Open the screen. It can be adjusted in 2 positions. As you could just see, not electrically, but by hand, but I actually think that's good. Actually, my favorite solution, adjustable windscreens on touring bikes like this. I think it's good, but I don't need it to be electric. It just costs unnecessary money. It might break, and the way it's arranged here is really easy. You can do it on the color. Wonderful. Now pay attention to the awesome display. It's really good. It's been around for a few years now. It's nothing special from BMW anymore, but it's still one of the, how should I say, benchmark displays in terms of readability and the graphics. Just well done. Okay, here comes the level crossing. I didn't know that. Anyway, yes, how does it drive? Well, I have to say, I've driven a lot now. Older models, obviously, and oh, I'm one of those, I like sports tours. Volker and I used to have a CB1300 from Honda together. That was a sports tour too, in the classic sense, and well, all of these machines are not quite as, how should I say, not quite as hectic. Maybe like an adventure bike, for example. That's just down to the chassis geometry. That's in the nature of things. You could also say, oh, I'm really getting into trouble here. I think I'd better go around. Well, they're a bit more tuned for straight runs, but that does mean, of course, that you can't take corners with them. Isn't bad at all. RS. But, well, they're just like that. You can go on the motorway with them. Yes, 240 maximum here, and you can do that with the bike too, and it doesn't even feel bad. On the contrary, it feels safe. You have good wind protection, and yes, it's easy. It's a touring bike, but good. The engine, much more to say about. It's got so much punch. Well, really the word punch was practically invented for this engine. I would put it very carefully. It's unbelievable. The engine always has power, and it almost doesn't matter which gear you're in. You can always do things like this here. Just a tenth of a second. You can always pass a 100 meters long traffic jam in simply totally awesome and so long. Curves, right? Like these here. That's exactly the world of the R1300 rupees. Oh, it feels so natural. It feels like the road was built here for the bike. Simply awesome. Oh. And then you get the usual quality of BMW components. When I look down here, it all looks really classy. The bike also has that in comparison to other sports touring bikes. No tubular handlebars, but two hinged here like an M-bar. But the handlebar position isn't that dramatically low. Oh man, I find it relatively comfortable. You sit, I haven't just mentioned the seating position. You sit a bit sportily, forward. I think that's cool. It's very active, more active than on my bike, for example, on my crossover, and of course also more active than on the adventure bike. You can definitely tell the machine just wants, or is really keen to go a bit faster with you. I'll put it mildly. Yeah, that's cool. Yes, the gearbox, if you don't use the quick shifter, the hand force is surprisingly lighter. All the levers and so on. No, look at that. Everything. Super classy, yes. And it's simple. It's just fun. I remember I rode an R1200 rupees for a very long time. That was many years ago, probably 5 years. And I found it really impressive back then. How solid the machine sits, how grown up it looks. There's really no wobble at all. Everything is secure, everything is so great, simply puts you in a great mood. There's the trout lake ahead. That means I'll end my test ride. I wanted to keep it a bit shorter anyway, so that Volker gets his due, so stay tuned. Now comes the technology. See you later. So that brings us to the technology of the BMW R1300 rupees. The machine has this new two-part frame concept with a main frame and a bolted-on aluminum rear frame. This shell construction is familiar. From the GS, I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's either identical or at least comparable. The frame is part of this concept, and yes, at the front we have a nice upside-down fork with gold anodized spring elements, and yes, in this case it's electronically adjustable. The machine has a semi-active chassis, and then let's take a look at the front wheel first. That's a 17-inch rim with 120/70 tires, and the braking system, it comes directly from the BMW 4-piston radial brake calipers on two 310mm discs. And the machine really brakes like hell. It's very, very impressive. The rims have become a lot lighter, by the way. We also have very, very nice angle valves. And the spring travel at the front is where it says 140mm D. Let's go to the back and take a look. On the central spring strut, you can see that very clearly here with a red spring. The same play is also electronically adjustable, fully adjustable. The whole thing is fully adjustable, of course. And the rear wheel, there is also a 17-inch rim here with the pretty fat 1905 tire mounted here is a tire from Dunlop, and specifically the one I can't read right now. I'll just display what the tire is called here. By the way, here is the second 12-volt connection. I think you can get to it with this battery charger. Exactly. Very well done. Now we come to the engine. Yes, we already know it from the other 1300s, of course, especially from the GS and also the R. Yes, I was just about to say the good old box, but that's nonsense. This is the new Boxer here with 145 horsepower, 7,750 at 757 revolutions, 149 Newton at 1,600 revolutions. And yes, I would say let's go to the other side again. We want to show you this beautiful single-sided swing arm with the integrated cadre again. Oh, by the way, a few people are always surprised that it is sometimes on the left and sometimes on the right. It is actually different. In this case, it is attached here on the left, painted matte black. Makes a really good impression. At the back, we also have a single disc in the 2-piston floating caliper. And yes, the machine, as we mentioned before, has cornering ABS, so it is all pretty sophisticated. And you can see these individual milled parts here. It's not standard, no, they are just special things that are screwed onto this package. Here too, the gear shift lever. Well, that doesn't look like standard to me either. It's all very classy, which is also special. Can you come around again, please? In this case, on the machine, it is the Acura. It is not standard either. But here on this machine, it is, and we'll show you what it sounds like. Oh no, we still have to talk about the tank. The sound check is coming up. First, a sentence about the tank. 17L the Boxer consumes. 4.8 L is actually quite astonishing given the power. Vmax is 240, so the fastest is the fastest. The fastest BMW machine with a Boxer engine, and yes, now we're showing the Acura again, because now we're finally getting to the sound check. Have fun. Right, now we're going to start again with 0 to 100. You know how it starts from 0, 3, 2, 1. 0, yes, vehemently, I'd say. Vehemently, like 60 to 105th gear. Oh, now I've demanded it. Down here, but makes it 3, 2, 1. Off we go. There's a bend up ahead. But of course, I got to 100 kilometers per hour long before that. Yes, this Boxer, man, it's been described 1,000 times by 1,000 people. But you have to do a test drive and experience it for yourself. Everything people say is true. It really goes off. It just goes off. Well, right at the bottom, it doesn't feel 100% comfortable. But from about 2.5 somehow. Oh, it pushes and pushes. Oh, there's the forensic lake. Oh, the bike brakes very well too. Unexpected brake test. Yes, simply awesome. So test drive part 2 is Volker at the wheel with the BMW R 1,300 rupees. Yes, nice and low hand force. Also pleasant. The starting torque with the engine is of course very pronounced. With that displacement distributed over 2 cylinders and the torque. Anything else would just be surprising. Yes, the braking torque of the engine is also very pleasant. Just enough so that you don't have to brake in situations like these. Nicely done, nicely done. Yes, the seating position is very good for me. I sit here a little bit forwards, but not too far from the handlebars. Everything fits very well. The handlebar width is also very comfortable for me. And the footrests are in such a position that you can sit here very well with your knees close. It works wonderfully. You have such a nice balance with these Boxo engines. The center of gravity is not so pleasant. Low, it's a bit of a full feeling, a bit like that. Yes, I would call it that kind of safety-inducing, and what is of course always there is this punch. That catapults you forwards if you want to know it. The self-resetting indicators are also very nice here. Yes, and you can swing so wonderfully. With this thing, it's really fun. The quick shifter has to be moved with a bit of force. It doesn't really slide in. Well, that's not a flaw, but you do have to shift with a bit of force. But wonderfully precise, no problem at all. We'll try the brakes again in a moment. The braking effect really is very minimal. You'll have noticed it wobbles ever so slightly at the back, but it's not in any way frightening. It happens without any correction at all. One problem, and let's take another look. Yes, the braking effect really is enormous, yes. You can rev it quite well with it. When idling, it sounds so rattling. It's not mechanical in any way, it's just the way it is. I think it's also due to the Euro 5 standard that these things aren't allowed to have any expression of life anymore. And yes, many competitors have exactly the same problem. The sound era seems to have finally come to an end with Euro 5. A shame, but when you accelerate, luckily you can still hear that we're dealing with a combustion engine. Yes, it's still moving. Wonderful. It's in the low rev phase. Let's let the engine get down to 2000 in 6th gear. Yes. Then it shakes a little bit and then goes into the starting position without a fuss. So, oh well. It really does have a lot of torque, you can tell. By the way, the seat cover is very, very non-slip. You sit really nicely and it's almost interlocked, obviously not so great for the hang-off generation because they always have to lift the MOS quite a bit. But otherwise, it's a really pleasant feeling. A bit firmer even for long journeys. Suitable. Some people ride on the arms as if they were driving in a parking garage, then a truck comes along. Guys, step on the gas. I don't know how some people got a driver's license like that. Let's see how the thing accelerates. Great, this thing really takes off. Yes, I have the windscreen on the top one. Quickly, in case you can see for yourself. It rustles nicely at the top of the helmet. In my case, on the helmet. And the body is pleasantly free from the window area. So at that speed, you can cover longer distances without any problems. Come and see how fast the thing is. There's a bit more wind pressure on the helmet. I notice it when I look to the side. And the noise level is a bit louder. Great, what's more, it sits really firmly on the road, you don't get the feeling at all that the chassis is being unsettled, even at high speeds. Oh, wonderful, this cornering is so nice and smooth. No tendency to pitch up when braking in a corner. Also very pleasant, so friends, for me, it's a very, very balanced machine, both in terms of the engine. Very, very pleasant, hardly any vibration, actually almost vibration free. Always ready for power, free revving, i.e. for a 2-cylinder boxer, or for a 2-cylinder in general. Very happy to rev, and the brakes are great. Great chassis. Very good seating position, high quality workmanship. Options. There's a really very extensive range of, so everyone can design it for themselves according to what they have, wants and what he doesn't want, like having to dig into his wallet. So for me, the machine is a clear recommendation. Great thing, fun. Oh, I see all the users again who write nasty comments. But whatever, it's just a great machine. Friends, I forgot something, and that is, it's a very, very nice suspension system. I completely forgot about it. It had a couple of small punctures, and was amazed at both the very nicely dampened by, I haven't had a bad hit here yet. Not even on such a bumpy track. Great. That's it now. So, a colleague's conversation about the BMW R1300 rupees. I've just come back. I have to do a bit of my must-do. You start, because yes, you've been driving for a while. We drove back and forth so much before because we got lost. It was really awesome. Then I could almost have said, but only almost, okay, so well, I think it's a machine that surprised me so much because it's been a while since I've driven a 1300, and what impresses me time and time again is the power of this fat boxer engine and also this wave of torque that crashes down on you. It's really awesome. From 2000 onwards, the hammer really swings, and then there's this that's typical of a boxer engine, this ideal mass balance, this almost vibration-free running. It's just very, very pleasant, you have to say. Then, in terms of performance, I think it's more than sufficient. Everyone says no. That's not enough for me. I think it's really a real beast. That thing, it's got really good power. That thing's twice as much as the standard. Yes, it's got really good power. I think that's really cool. The brakes are top. Yes, all that's on my mind, I really have to say, this is this tiresome story with the shaft drive, with these 40,000 RPM changes. That doesn't exist. That basically shows that BMW doesn't have 100% confidence in these cadres. At least in my opinion. Yes, maybe it's just that. It wasn't like that before. Maybe it's because the engine has so much power that the ones at the back, well, but you know what? With Triumph, with the rocket, they have to do it every 5,000 kilometers. No, honestly, the thing has over 240. I know, to be honest, before we start talking nonsense, I'm not at all sure. Do you believe that it was changed after 40,000? No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that either. I just think that they're very, very careful. I can imagine that there was a problem somewhere. Maybe during test drives or something. I have no idea, but I'd be interested to know what was going on. And so they're just like, we'll just take a look after 4,000. Maybe it's just that it was checked closely as part of the inspection, but the fact alone shows that people, we have to be a bit careful with the cardan shaft. You're right, it's annoying. As I said, I didn't want to spread any nonsense like this because there are people who say, yes, it has to be changed after 40,000. I don't think that's the case. I think it's, like you said, that they say, okay, look at 40,000. Just like that, if you're unlucky, okay, of course that's crap. And you're right, that is a bit strange. Yes, exactly. But fine, apart from that, I think as far as the build quality is concerned, that is absolute BMW top standard. And the operation too, great. I think the same with the TOG. I think it's really great. Yes, what I find cool, actually always with BMW Vauxhall models, is that they have such a low center of gravity, right? Because the cylinders are so low. The gearbox is also now below the cylinder. And you notice that when you're maneuvering, when you're driving, but also when you're maneuvering, I mean, the machine isn't exactly light, but you don't really notice it. It was 240.25 kilograms or so, but I think it's really light for that. Yes, it's not an entry-level engine. But keep your hands off it, but it's not like, let's say like, it used to be, I don't know, like our CB 1300. No, well yes, it was a bit more like that. No, yes, now that you've just said it, the entry-level motorcycle. I think that's a bit misleading. Because motorcycles are easy to ride these days. Luckily, that's the case, but that also tempts a lot of people to say that it's a motorcycle, but because of the power, it isn't. Because a lot of people just can't get an idea of how long the path to braking is. Once I've really charged up for a bit, it takes a while to get back down to that level. Yes, or when you give a guest in the bend here, well, of course it has a lean angle. It has cornering abs, all well and good. But the limits of physics, that doesn't help in the end, right? When you give a guest here, I mean, it's so fast, it's like that was 10 years ago, you were watching MotoGP with it. Well, not quite, but you know what I mean? It's kind of technology, performance that you can buy these days, and you're allowed to take it out on the road with it. You're probably not allowed to for much longer. That surprises me. Yes, it's awesome. But you get a full house. And above all, you don't need a car. Well, don't understand why all BMWs or a lot of BMW buyers always want to have everything. Such nonsense. For example, it doesn't have the Asar, right? I did miss it. I don't need it either. Exactly. I didn't miss the television. Look, just look at the standard equipment. It costs, what was that, 56, 16 euros? 500? That's still a lot of money. But I thought there's so much bells and whistles. Yes, maybe that's enough for him. You don't always have to order all the packages. Yes, show-offs, right? And certainly not from Amazon. Bye. Lovely people. That was our test of the new BMW R1300 rupees. There really is a lot of coming and going here, like a torrent. A bit like at a fun fair, everything is mixed up. It doesn't matter exactly. Today we're here at Dank & So in Neumünster. As mentioned at the beginning, you can test drive this beautiful motorcycle here. Right, and if you fancy a different BMW, then you can too. They're all here. Well, you can't see now, but there are only BMWs. There are even police bikes, but you can't test drive them probably. 3-year guarantee. Service every 10,000 like always with BMW competitors. Not the piece of paper now, I don't need it. Oh, I could imagine the Suzuki S100 GT. Yes, the KTM 1390. Yes, the 1290, Super 1290. We've just found out about the 1390. Unfortunately, it's not coming until the year after next, I think. Exactly. And then we have the Caver. Yes, look here. Yes, the Moto Guzzi V100, I wouldn't have had that on the channel. Yes, come on, it's sporty, but yes, that's right, okay, not quite as powerful. But of course, it's not as powerful with women, that's true. But here you were just looking at the car, the Ninja 1100 SX, also a great sport bike, but this one is, I mean, it's a really cool machine, you have to be honest and say that. It costs a few euros, okay? We mentioned the prices during the video, but it is... Yes, it is really cool, and it is, you have to say, it is a BMW after all. But that's always something special. Unfortunately, it is like that, exactly. Yes, well, that's it from Neumünster. We send you our regards, have a nice day, and say goodbye. See you next time, chowie.